GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. All right, welcome to In the Zone. I'm Andy Wheeler, filling in for Dave Delgado, who's taking a much-needed vacation again. And today we're going to be talking powerlifting and a lot of things involved with that. And joining us on the show, Grace Tacuyan-Witt. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so we've got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. What is your role in the Guam powerlifting scene?
Well, for the United States Powerlifting Association, I'm actually the chair for Guam. I was the one that actually brought Guam to being part of an affiliate state, meaning officially we can now set records and be able to...
And they're on the books. It's not just, backyard stuff like, oh yeah, I lifted 1,000 pounds.
Exactly. It's on record, and it's not just on record with them, but as well as on a website called openpowerlifting.com, so then you're ranked worldwide.
Excellent. Where did you see the need for this to get part in that? Because, people going to the gym, lifting weights, and maybe having a little impromptu competition at a local gym, but getting organized is a different thing.
Definitely. I moved back here in 2016. It's funny because I was going to the gym and I would get comments saying, oh my God, you lift heavy. And in my mind, I wasn't lifting heavy in comparison to other women that I've seen compete. I took it as a compliment, but I also came across several lifters over at the gym, and we just all connected. We started training together, and then I said, you know what, one of these days we just need to compete. But also, since I've been trained by several different coaches, I also knew there was form and technique that needed to happen with a lot of the gym lifters. Now it's very different because people are programming and they're learning. But when I first came about, there were very few that were actually powerlifting, and there were others that were powerlifting but not doing it with form and technique.
Right, because when you're lifting weights that heavy, form is crucial, not just to maximize your output, but also for safety.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen some backs get blown out and knees and stuff like that.
Yes, and it's scary because the thing is, let's just talk for this squat, for example. A lot of people like, my knees hurt. Chances are you're squatting wrong if your knees are hurting and you're not engaging the right muscles.
What if my knees just hurt when I wake up in the morning? Is that a power lift?
No,
that's
we're just
okay.
old.
Okay,
We're just old.
I just wanted to make sure. Just want to make sure my form was okay.
Right. Or sometimes when people say, oh my gosh, my back hurts when I'm pulling a conventional deadlift. Well, the thing is, yes, you do use your back, but people don't realize you're using your entire body in order to get that lift up. So one of the things that I do as a coach is I teach them how to do the movement correctly. And then once I feel that they're at a point where they express interest in wanting to compete or go heavier, then we talk about programming.
Okay, because feeling that I'm doing the right form is one thing, but you need someone else to look and see, no, you're a little out of angle here, or your back is so you need that coach. You can't just, I feel like I'm doing it right.
Right, and the thing is, what we do at the gym, probably people are like, oh my God, why do they have to video everything? But the thing is...
You're so vain.
Yeah, well, for example, I have a client that I'm coaching off island, and he sends me video all the time because obviously I can't be there one-on-one, but let's say you're going into a squat. I look at the bar path, I look at the way your feet are positioned, I look to see if you're leaning forward, because right now he's squatting 460. If you're slightly leaning forward, automatically your lift is going to feel 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier because your core is not stabilized.
Right. It's like golfers videoing their swing.
Yes.
You want to see all the little minor things that it feels right, but you watch the tape, you're like, oh no, that's way off.
Right.
Okay, so form is obviously key when you get to a competitive level, and also just for anybody that wants to go out and lift, just to feel a little bit stronger, to have a better physical being, to just be healthier. Form is always key, right?
It definitely is, and one of the things that I also emphasize is that I learned this the hard way, but women are often told that you shouldn't lift. You shouldn't be able to do that. You're a female, you're not strong enough, etc. Whereas being an Asian, where we tend to lose more bone density quicker, I think that's absolutely, false. Because the thing is, you got to build your muscles to support those joints. Right. And the thing is, I've learned that as I've gotten older, I've gotten stronger, and I have more of a sense of who I am. I have a sense of not who I am, but mentally and physically, because I'm making the connection of how I'm building my body so I can, live to 70, 80, 90 years old.
Right. And there's a lot of older women, men that are doing it, and you're coaching some of them.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if you say women can't lift, I was at Deadlifts and Dames. What was it, 400 pounds, I think someone lifted?
Yeah, Brittany.
Crazy.
Yes.
I could not even move the bar off the ground at all. And she's up there just hoisting it. So it's crazy that, different weight classes, different age groups, they can lift those crazy weights, which to me is beyond me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When I first started, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I think I needed my first coach to pretty much tell me, no, you can do it. And that's the thing. Most of us are often told that we can't do it. And so when I moved here and I would see people at the gym, I'm like, oh, you can go 5 pounds heavier. You can go 10 pounds heavier. I can kind of gauge it and know if they can handle it or not. And most of the powerlifting community in the gym, we are like that. We're very supportive of each other because we know that we want to push through something. So I always say it's not just about powerlifting, it's about breaking through that barrier because it's easy for us to say we can't do something.
Right. And Guam is doing it. Guam competitors, it's not just a group that is together at the gym. Oh, how much did you lift? Oh, we're actually going off island and competing. I know when Dave and I do sports, every once in a while there's a competition that just happens somewhere in the world where Guam was represented. And I mean, it's not just, oh, we showed up. I mean, we're bringing home medals.
We are almost, I think with the exception of, I think we've had about, I don't have the exact number, 18 lifters now represent Guam since 2017. I think all but maybe 2 have come home with placing.
We're not naming names. We don't want to.
I don't have all 17 names, but if you go to my page on Instagram, I'm pretty sure I speak about them. But the fact that everyone's come home with a medal, everyone's come home with qualifying for a bigger meet. And last year, Tone and I set world records. The fact that we're this tiny little island with such a small group, and we're now setting records, and we don't even have competition grade equipment here.
Right.
So the thing is, we have to work with what we're given at the gym, and the thing is, and I think that's what makes us stronger, and that's what makes us hungrier, is because now we have to prove ourselves that we're this tiny little island, and we are a community, and we can make it happen.
And, you don't need a huge federation and a multi-trillion-dollar facility to crank out these athletes. I mean, you're working at the gym. Other powerlifters are working at their gym, whatever it is, with what they have, and still being able to crank out these records.
Yes, and I think, at the end of the day, I think about where my humble beginnings and where I started, and I look at my videos and I cringe, and we all start somewhere. But the thing is, Paradise Fitness just got competition kilo plates. We got a power bar. We got deadlift bars. The only thing we're lacking is what they call an ER rack. So it's the combination rack that can go from a bench to a squat rack that's in competition. That's the only thing we're lacking here. But down the line, if we get that, I'm pretty sure we could actually have meets. So what's happening is we try to represent Guam and say that we're a team, but due to the distance and the cost and everything, it's hard to bring out a group all at the same time.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, we just have to drive to Tamuning for this competition. I mean, you're flying out to Vegas, which is cha-ching, cha-ching, and, maybe in Asia somewhere. So it does take a lot. That's why some of the groups have fundraisers on occasion.
We do. Unfortunately, it's technically it's like an individualized sport, so we do have to do fundraising as a team. Unlike other teams that have been sponsored because they're just a much larger team. That's where the struggle is, and the thing is, you have to be acclimated once you get there. So for example, last March, the 4 guys that I brought, 3 of them have never been off island.
Wow.
Okay, not only that, you're not going to Vegas and it's like 50 degrees.
That's culture shock.
So it was a culture shock, plus the fact that it took them almost 2 days to get off the jet lag. Then you got a water cut because you're competing on a Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
So it was a little bit challenging because we don't have the vacation time to be able to, I'm just going to go there for 2 weeks and chill before the meet. So that's another thing. And they knew that we had to go into this meet qualifying, so then we actually all qualified for the bigger meet. Unfortunately, by the time we qualified, the meet was already full. So the thing is...
but still, getting that recognition that, hey, we qualified. Next year we know, all right, let's go ahead and get in early. Let's do this because you guys are getting your foot in the door. I mean, your foot's already in the door. You've opened the door wide open. You, Big Tone, and all these other competitors, Gerald, what he's doing out there for the juniors. You're in there. It's just now like, okay, we need to get into these competitions and show them really what's up.
We do, and so for example, there was 3 of us that attended Worlds last year. It was last November, and there were over 400 lifters worldwide that were represented. The fact that you now have 3 of the lifters, and 2 of them come home with medals and records. So the thing is, we are definitely making noise in the powerlifting community. When we competed last year as a team to the Hawaii Fit Expo, we pretty much swept the meet. We all came home with something.
That's awesome.
And then I came from Vegas, so a lot of my friends are their judges, the referees, and all that. And every time we come back to Vegas, they always celebrate us. They're like, the fact that you guys flew thousands of miles just to compete. So the team of 4, there was actually 5 of us because one's already in mainland, and we all came home placing, and we
That's
all
crazy.
came home with medals and everything.
So when you look at the amount of competitive powerlifters Guam has, and then the amount of medals that they've won and records they've set, that's a high percentage. That ratio is up there. What do you attribute that to?
We're definitely hungry. We're definitely hungry, and I think it's the newness of the sport and the fact that it's not something that it's not like you have to look a certain way, or you have to be a certain age, or you have to have X amount of gym experience. When I first competed, I was only training for 3 months before I competed my first meet. And I didn't even know it, but then I set the Nevada state records for my age class.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And
Just casually out here breaking records, whatever.
And then the thing is, okay, this is an interesting story. I actually met Tone on Instagram. So even before
A lot of people met Tone on Instagram.
And because when I moved to Guam, I'm like, I need to know if there are other powerlifters here. And he was one of them that I reached out to. There was another guy named Josh Flores. Josh is my friend, and he trains out at ISC. He's competed now twice. So the thing is, I reached out to them, and that's kind of how we've built this community. And the thing is, we can all have different coaches. We can all have different training disciplines. But when it comes to the support, like, I can't explain what even happens in a meet. It's crazy when you're sitting there. I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened at a meet, but people cheer for you. You have no idea. They have no idea who you are. But I remember at the March meet, there was this guy sitting in the front row, and he would always just yell for Guam. He didn't know any of us, but then later on he asked to take a picture with our group, and we're like, why? He goes, the fact that you all came out here, you all competed together, we definitely see a very tight-knit group. And he goes, I just want to take a picture because I think you guys are awesome. And that means something to me.
That is cool.
Because it's a representation of who we are as an island.
Yeah, it is a family, a close group. It's an individual sport.
Yes.
When you're up there ready for your lift, it's you versus gravity. That's pretty much it. But the team, the family surrounding that, you guys cheering as loud as you can, other strangers that respect what you guys are doing, that's got to be some kind of family thing you got.
It is, and it's scary because there have been many meets that I did by myself. Like my first meet when I moved to Guam in 2016 and I competed in Hawaii by myself. It was my first time traveling alone, getting everything accommodated, by myself, and then going to a meet, and then the following meet bringing 6 other people with me. It was it's huge, but it also tests you. It's how much, how you have to dig deep inside and get the inner strength without having to rely on anybody. But when you have your team behind you, oh my God, all of a sudden the weights just lift. They just feel like they're 20, 30 pounds lighter, and knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is huge. The mental aspect of it obviously is a big key. So the journey, is Guam is really heading out there to these competitions, like you said. But let's talk about your personal journey. What is your record right now?
Okay, so I'm currently, my total is, I have a master total. I've been doing this for close to 6 years. I have records for all of Guam records. I continue to hold the Nevada state records for my weight class. And then I recently broke the the USPA world record for deadlift. I hit 485 pounds at Olympia. I actually attempted 501, but it was not counted. You actually have commands in a meet, so they called it a soft knee, meaning if you don't have a full lockout, it doesn't count.
There's 3 judges there that will signal if that's a good lift.
Yes, and one of my knees wasn't locked out, so it wasn't counted. So the fact it still counts to me was still 500 pounds.
What a slacker. Can you just... That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I could not even imagine lifting that much. But you did not start lifting 485 pounds.
I know.
You started somewhere, at whatever point you decided to go on this powerlifting journey, and your form was terrible, you couldn't lift that much, you didn't know what you were doing, you didn't know how to eat, but now you've learned all these things along the way. So let's talk about that journey and your weight loss. You focused on different things, the diet. Let's get into it.
Well, all my adult life, I've always battled my weight. At the heaviest I ever was, I was around 24 years old, and I was tipping the scales at 275. I was in and out of the gym all the time, but I was never given the right direction. Everyone says, here, just do cardio, just stop eating carbs. And the thing is, for some people it works, and I'm not going to knock it. And for a while, I even went on a high protein, low carb diet. You lose a lot of weight, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
The thing is, what happens when you stop going to the gym, you gain it all back. All of a sudden, you start eating normally.
You miss a week because it's the holidays or something, and I don't have time, work is kind of busy. You miss a week, and it starts to add up.
It does, and I had a friend, how my lifting journey started, because my weight always fluctuated, but it was in 2013, I got approached at the gym from a friend, and she's like, I think you should try powerlifting, and I said, no, that's not for me. My vision of powerlifting were those Eastern European women, with mustaches,
Right.
And I'm like, here I am trying to shed, and you want me to do this, and she goes, trust me, can you just meet my coach? So I met the coach, and we did a squat session together, and I was doing very light weights. So we eventually did a deadlift session and a bench. And he would always say, how much do you think you can lift? I'm like this. And he goes, no. And he would just like, let's just keep on going. And for the first time, I felt empowered, and I felt comfortable going to the gym, and I actually had a sense of direction. Like he was saying, okay, let's go do it this way. This is what you got to do. These are the type of exercises you need to perform to get stronger. And I remembered I was still trying to focus on losing weight. At this point, I dropped like 40 pounds, and my daughter was barely a year old, and I was just frustrated because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but yet this made sense to me.
And see, that's one key thing is everybody, whatever your goal is, don't have someone else's goal.
Yes.
I'm not going to have a goal to lift as much as Grace Tacuyan-Witt. That's not my goal. That's not my journey. So find what works for you. You went in, I just need to lose weight, didn't care about muscle, and then you kind of get steered towards this powerlifting, and you're like, this is it. And then learning how to powerlift, increasing your PRs along the way, the weight starts coming off. The muscle
did.
builds.
At first it was slow, but then I started to notice that my shape was changing. One of the things that really just it was eye opener was I was training for Olympia, and I was going into my meet going, I'm eating the same calories, I'm training like this, but it's not budging. So I was hovering between 235 to 240, and I was like, why is it not budging? And my body fat percent was not, but I was in the gym 5 to 6 days a week. So I was getting frustrated. I decided, I sucked it up, even though my friends at Health City, they're like my BFFs. I didn't want to do the in-body scan because I did not want to be told that, like, you're freaking fat. I just didn't want to be told that.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No.
Sometimes we need it.
Yes.
Hey, we need to be told you're out of shape.
Right.
You're not the ideal weight, your muscle mass, all this. We don't want to hear these things, but sometimes we need that little kick in the butt to continue our journey.
Well, I needed that because the way it breaks it down, because instead of being fixated on that big number, I shifted then the focus on my muscle mass. So the thing is, even though I had a high percentage of body fat, because at the time I did this in July, I was like at almost 42%. But then I was looking at my skeletal muscle mass, and I was told, okay, not just for a girl, you're just strong in general. Because when they would compare it to your
I
water
could have told
weight.
you that.
Thank you.
I'm not a health professional. I could have told you you're strong.
Thank you. And so I was looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta do this differently. So my friend Joel, he's like, okay, here, let's go put you on a meal plan. Let's go figure this out. So the crazy thing is, my caloric intake was about the same. I just spread out my meals. And so I said, okay, how do I do this to fuel my training? Because I'm working full time. I have a kid at home. I want to be able to do this the right way, but I couldn't afford to lose any muscle. So by the time I was doing this,
You kind of need the muscle to lift weights.
Yes. So what happens is when often people go in and like, I need to lose weight, they do lose muscle and they lose strength. So I had to challenge myself and go, okay, I can't do that. So by the time I actually competed, I had dropped about 15 pounds, and I gained 1 pound of muscle. When I came off the diet, and not off the diet, but come back from the meet, I lost more muscle because I was doing more cardio. So I said, okay, I got to change this up again. And I shifted the focus on more circuit training. And I said, how do I build the smaller muscles to support the bigger muscles for my lifts? So the crazy thing is I reduced my training time. Instead of lifting heavy 4 days a week, I reduced it to only 2 times a week. And then I also I did more circuit training.
Okay.
So I lost, altogether since July, I lost almost 23 pounds, but it was from pure fat. So that's another thing with this machine and the results. It tells you if you lost muscle. And this is why I was able to shape my body differently.
Is it in-body scan it's called?
It's called the in-body scan, and there's
Okay.
only one of these machines on island, and it's at Health City.
Okay.
Okay.
Now it took you a while to figure that out.
Yes.
This wasn't I woke up one day, I went to the gym, lost 30 pounds, okay, I'm good. That's one thing I think that people need to realize is that these things take time.
Yes.
Whatever your goal is, if it's to lose 5 pounds, if it's to lose 100 pounds, if it's to gain 5 pounds of muscle, if it's to be a world record powerlifter, whatever that goal is, it takes time. There's a lot of fad diets, and there's a lot of fad, drink this and you'll lose all the weight in the world. Those things, flashy and they seem right, but you're losing the wrong kind of weight. You're not. It's not sustainable. So you have to put in that long-term work to see the long-term goals.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you said, it didn't happen overnight. I had to plan it. And also I realized that as I got older, I wasn't burning the calories the same way. So this wasn't just for powerlifting. I needed to make sure that I had my blood sugar in check. I had to make sure that my blood pressure was at a good rate. Same thing with my cholesterol, because as much as I love my lechon, I can't have that every day anymore. And I can't eat steak as much because then my bad cholesterol number was going up. So then I had to find the balance and learn what worked for me. But what I realized, because as I'm coaching people, it's like I'm never going to tell you to not eat it. I'm just saying, okay, you're now 45 years old, and what you did at 20 doesn't work at 45.
Right. Yeah, that's a cruel lesson that we all learn at one
Yes.
point. So it takes time, and those that, since we're coming up on the new year, those that may think about taking that first step on their healthy journey, don't expect to lose it all in one day.
Yes.
Don't expect to reach all your goals in one day, but you can set daily goals, whether it's I want to do 10 minutes on the treadmill, whatever it may be. And so you spend a lot of time in the gym, and I'm sure you've seen that around January 1st, there's a lot of people showing up. You don't want them to clear out by February. You want them to continue on that health journey. But everyone is different, like I said. And so what kind of advice would you give people that, hey, if you're starting this, don't be frustrated right off the bat when I lifted a weight and I looked in the mirror and I didn't see any difference.
And I see it all the time. We don't even have to wait till 2020. I just see it at the gym. I see people come and they start, and all of a sudden you just don't see them anymore. And the thing is,
it's hard to stick with it sometimes.
It is. It's because there's a lack of knowledge. That I don't feel that there's a lack of desire to go to the gym, because obviously they can get into the car and go to the gym. Something got them there.
Right.
But the thing is, it's the lack of education and how certain muscle groups or how you need to be able to train to be able to do something. And the thing is, I was there and I was the girl that only did the treadmill because nobody told me how to, no one said, let me show you how to do it. I had to get a personal trainer. But I'm I have a big mouth, as you can see. But one of the things that I love is that I would ask questions to my trainer. What is this doing for me?
Ask a lot of questions. Why am I eating this? Why am I doing this training? Why am I doing this? Explain it so then okay, that's why.
I do the same thing with people that I'm helping. I'm like, okay, so why do you think you can't eat this? Or why do you think I'm asking you to perform this exercise? Because the thing is, nobody knows. Everyone says, oh, just do it. Just do it. But I like to know the reason behind the why.
Just do it, but why?
Yeah, because the thing is now, because then you create this codependent relationship and having someone else to tell you what to do. So the thing is, you can't hold yourself accountable. So the thing is, it took me a while. I had to seek out help. I have a bunch of friends that are all coaches in strength training. If I don't know something, I reach out to them. If I don't know anything, then I'm like, I don't want to say go on the internet, because there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I don't agree with, but seek out, go to a professional. Like, the thing is, I do programming for powerlifting. If you don't want to come to me, then find somebody else who is experienced. I'm not a fan of going online and doing online programming if you've never had an in-person coach, because how do you know if you're executing the movement correctly?
I watched a powerlifting video, so I'm kind of an expert, okay?
Exactly.
So ask questions. If you go into the gym and you see this lady lifting 485 pounds, don't be intimidated, because I know that can be a thing. If I go to the gym my first time and you see the regulars that are there, and Tone is over here lifting 8 million pounds,
Yeah.
you're over there, deadlifting 485. Don't be intimidated, because yes, you guys have your routine, but between that, hey, if I have a question, hey, real quick, am I doing this? If you have time, you can help.
Well, we all started somewhere, and I will be the first. I promise you, any of the powerlifters, we love helping others. We do, because we know what it's like to begin. We know what it's like when we've done something wrong. And the thing is, it's not just about powerlifting. I like to see it as a strength movement. So the thing is, it's about, like, I have my guys, we don't have it at Dedito Gym, but I have him do farmer's walks. So that's not a powerlifting move, but I said, okay, I need to have you the strongest back that you can. You're going to walk across the AstroTurf with 5 plates on each side.
Yeah.
He can do it, but then I'll probably start off an individual that's never done it, maybe with just 1 plate, or maybe just with the 10 pounds. And then I explain the movement and why it's absolutely necessary to get, stronger.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for competitive lifting.
Right.
It can be just to be healthier.
I remember
To be able to lift your grandkids up, no problem, when you're getting older,
Exactly. Okay, so this happened to me, and I'm pretty sure, I remembered I was at GPO, and I was at the base of the stairs of the food court, and I walked upstairs, and I was out of breath. That was embarrassing to me. And I was like, okay, no, we got to figure this out. And the thing is, trying to fix that doesn't necessarily mean you got to do more cardio. It just means you have to incorporate cardio with strength training to get your muscles, going and stronger, and then do cardiovascular to support that.
You got to find what works for you, and your journey obviously has brought you here, and all the power lifters on Guam bringing home medals, setting world records, and you're not done. I feel like you're just getting started. So what do you have coming up? I know there's a competition in April that you wanted to talk about.
We do. Actually, the first thing I want to talk about is that there's actually a competition this coming Saturday. It's in Hawaii. So we already have 3 lifters that just left to go compete there. It's actually Tone. Tone's there.
Of course, yes.
Mikkel and Chris, they're all competing, and it's super exciting because they're going to be hitting big numbers. This is going to be the first meet that Tone is competing at a heavier weight class. Mikkel's competing at the 148, and he's probably one of the strongest bench pressers here on Guam. And then Chris is the brand new one. It's awesome because
Is he the baby of the group?
He is baby, but it's pretty awesome because, like, here I am. I saw him, like, I go and say, come on, let's go lift. And he's like, no. And now he's probably going to be one to watch.
It's so funny because when you talk about these guys, it's like you're the mom talking about her little babies, the proud mom.
And it's funny because honestly, they call me Mama Grace, so it's fine. But because I see the growth of it, and I remembered how in the beginning I was that baby. I was like, who's gonna help me? And I had to figure out a lot of stuff on my own. So I kind of want to be able to know that they have the potential. The thing is, when I approach them, they're like, I'm not strong enough. I'm like, no, trust me, you are.
You're not strong enough yet.
Or they go online and they go to Instagram. I'm like, okay, this guy just bench pressed 1,000 pounds. I can never do that. I'm like, okay, guys, that's Instagram.
Right.
But when you're at a meet and you're competing with other beginners, chances are you're like one of the strongest people. The crazy thing is, during our March meet, okay, when you go into a meet, you have to give what your openers, like what you're going to open with. The team that I brought had some of the strongest openers, and that's already an indicator of where you're going to fall. I never make them start with an opener that's way beyond. I always said, do something you can do with your eyes closed, or you can do for 2 reps. So if you start smart, you can play it's strategic, but that's a different conversation.
I was going to say, is there a little strategic mind game
See,
in there,
and that's
Grace?
the thing.
Are you trying to go and exert your dominance? You're like,
Absolutely.
Well, this is just warm up. What are you guys lifting?
Honestly, that's the one thing I love about learning from my first coach, because the thing is, a lot of people join these meets and they're like, I'm just in a competition with myself, or they just lift to lift. I see it. I have a strategic, point of view, because that is what my first coach taught me. Are you now lifting because you want a specific total? Are you now lifting because you just want to place at this meet? Are you now lifting because you want to hit a gold medal? Not medal, placing. There are many different strategies. So as a coach, I'm the one that facilitates that so they can just focus on their lifting. So the thing is, remember, if we're now spending $1,600 to $2,000 on a plane ticket, then accommodations, then your food, I said, we are not leaving this island and we are not coming back with hardware.
Right.
There's a reason. So the thing is, I'm proud to say that every lifter that I've brought with me has come home with something.
Fantastic, and we're proud of you guys. So the big competition in April coming up.
Oh yes, April. Okay, so it's the Hawaii Fit Expo, and I'm excited because it's we didn't have anyone represent this year. We just couldn't go. The timing was off, but we are possibly having seven or eight lifters out of Guam that will be representing in April.
So are we looking at 7 or 8 medals coming home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Confidence.
Yes.
I love it.
We have to have that.
And that confidence comes from putting in the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so find what works for you. And again, if you have any questions, ask Grace or any of the powerlifters. Is there a social media? Is there something we can go to in
Yes,
Health City?
I'm actually online. I actually have 2 different accounts. So if you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram under Vegas Grace. But I also have my training program on Instagram as Grace Death Method. So the thing is, it's not just a powerlifting program. It's actually a strength building program. But then I write out programs based on your skill set. So currently I'm working with 5 people and they're all at different levels. So the thing is, I have that, and on Facebook you can also find me under Grace, but I also have a Grace Death Method page on Facebook as well.
So you can find her, is what she's saying.
Yeah, she can find me. Everybody knows where I'm at. I'm always at the gym.
All right, Grace, thank you so much. I love having a chat with you, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's In the Zone.